It's our 33rd and final day of our consecration to our Lord through the Blessed Virgin Mary. And tomorrow is the Feast of the Assumption. It actually begins, the Feast of the Assumption always begins, as do all the major feast days, and Sunday for that matter, starting with the vigil the night before. And so already when you get into the evening, it already becomes the actual feast. And so that's what we're celebrating starting now. I just did Mass a little bit ago, the Vigil Mass for the Feast of the Assumption here with our Lord at the side altar, the side chapel here with Our Lady of Altagracia. So you can see this nativity scene that's the patroness of the Dominican Republic. And that's who this particular chapel is dedicated to. And this is where we'll be tomorrow after Mass, after the 6 p.m. Mass. Those of you who can make it will come here, and we'll do our consecration before our Lord in the Eucharist, in the tabernacle, and then also before Our Lady and the other two images that are also here in the side. And there's another one over here. Today is the feast day of Saint Maximilian Kolbe. When St. Louis de Montfort was doing his consecration and developing it and delving into this whole spirituality of the Blessed Virgin Mary, St. Maximilian Kolbe was not alive yet. He did not come along. He was until, I forget when he was actually born. He passed away, unfortunately, in Auschwitz during World War II, in the concentration camp right there. But prior to that, he's a martyr for that, but he's also had a huge devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary and started a newspaper, the Immaculata, which was is published in so many different languages throughout the world. I think it was one of the largest distributed religious newspaper of any kind in its time, maybe even to this day. It was absolutely massive. He helped found a Franciscan seminary in Germany, and another one over in Japan. And he was this man was immensely active, printing presses in order for the Immaculata and other works that he was doing. And when he was imprisoned in Auschwitz, when they were arresting all the Catholic priests in Poland, he was there and as a prisoner. And some of you maybe know this story. Somebody had escaped from the prison, and so as retribution to the prisoners, what the Nazi guard would take 10 of the prisoners at random, more or less, and execute them. And there was this one gentleman who was chosen for that, and they're there in the square. And if you go to Auschwitz, you can, which I would recommend doing. It's not an easy visit, but it's an important one. You can stand there in the square where this whole scene took place inside the concentration camp. And this man was sentenced to death along with 10 others. I believe they're going to be shot or killed in some way. And he was begging for his life. He said, no, please, I've got family. They're going to need me. I'm a father and of young kids. And he was just begging with the guards, and the guards were just kind of completely unmoved by that. And that's when Maximilian Kolbe stepped forward and said, I'll take his place. Which is an amazing heroic act of generosity, of sacrifice. And then he, with the other 9 of men, were now I'm remembering what their fate was. They were sealed in a small, very small cell, and just left there without food or water to die, which they did after some period of a number of days. And while they were there, St. Maximilian Kolbe kept their spirits high, and they would sing hymns. He would preach to them. They would pray together. And so, knowing what their fate would be, they were staying close to the Lord. I'm willing to bet he probably heard some confessions too while he was there in that moment. And I can tell you, for someone that was so dedicated to Blessed Virgin Mary, they would have been praying the Rosary on their 10 fingers. They wouldn't have been allowed anything else, and waiting for Mary to bring them home. Maximilian Kolbe was the last to pass. Everybody else had died of natural causes, so to speak. And at the very end, he was the last survivor. In order to empty out the cell, they just injected him with some poisons or carbolic acid or something, and he passed away. Now, there's a reason why his feast day is on the today, and on leading into August 15th, the Feast of the Assumption, is because of his devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary, because of everything that he had done throughout his life as a priest in order to promote devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And it's so fitting too, and especially with the Feast of the Assumption, Our Lady at the end of her life ascends into heaven, body and soul. Her body didn't suffer any corruption. Her body was not she didn't have to be separated, body and soul. It could all go together, because there was no healing and no purifying that needed to happen. There was no separation from the body. So that's when we say that she ascended into heaven, body and soul. That's what we're talking about. Her soul didn't leave her body. They both went up together. There was nothing unworthy in her body or anything she had ever done with her body, nothing unworthy of heaven. We're meant to be in heaven, body and soul. The rest of us will be separated. Our soul will separate out. We pass away. Our soul continues forward, and our soul still needs some purification. Our body will completely pass away, but in heaven will be restored as God intended from the beginning, to be body and soul together in a new heavens and a new earth. And so for Maximilian Kolbe to be passing away there in that cell there in Auschwitz, to be received by Our Lady in heaven on the Feast of the Assumption, is such and to contemplate the joy that would have been on his face, and that of his mother as she brings him forward to meet her son, the true desire of his heart, the true desire of her heart. So we have a beautiful, beautiful feast day getting ready tomorrow. We will have, for those that are going to be here, we'll have the prayer of consecration. We're not going to use the one straight from the links that we've been using. That one, the language is maybe just a little awkward, but Father Gately, in his 33 days to morning glory, will be using the consecration from there tomorrow. So anyways, I'm just been so grateful to be able to spend these days with you, checking in, hearing from you. I've had plenty of one-off conversations here around the church, and other moments maybe a little bit by WhatsApp or text messages, and I still have one or two outstanding messages to get back to. But I pray that this moment of drawing close to Our Lady be something of great joy for all of you, that this be a meaningful moment of grace, of consecration, setting yourself aside to be for Mary, for the Lord, placing yourself in her hands so that she can continue to mold in you the image of her Son. God bless you.